Citizens, select board members and stuff is not on the agenda, so I'm going to add that. It can be done according to the statute.
Yep.
At the beginning of the meeting, so I will add comments from select board and citizens, town manager if necessary. That's typically on there. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Welcome to this meeting. I talked with Brandon and we decided it would probably be better to get these couple things out of the way so we don't have to have a meeting next week. It's a holiday week, people go on vacations. Thought it would just be a lot easier, and so that's why we did it. So right here is comments from citizens. Dave, go.
Well, it's good that you just mentioned that, so I don't support not having a meeting. We need to set the tax rate. The people that pay the taxes here, the first quarterly payment will be August 15th or thereabouts, and they should at least, we're not allowing for printing, we're not allowing for other things. Maybe something goes wrong, it always does. The residents should have at least that in their hand 30 days prior to being paid. We need to have a meeting. Second, I spoke with Brandon this morning about having this fire, and I thought that you, Mike, that you directed, whenever we were gonna talk about this, to have a sheet that said, for us to consider, what is, like, in yellow, or what would be side by side, these things, and I don't see that here. I just see a list, and I did not get a copy of it through the email, so I know Brandon's been having trouble with the whole system. My last comment is, I will send an email to the board, to the chair of the planning commission, to the chair of the zoning board. I attended the meeting last night that was held, the zoning board hearing that was online. We're still having a lot of trouble. I was listening and it sounded like Charlie Brown's teacher, every other word. It's not right. If we're gonna advertise this to be online, then we either get it right or stop doing that. Stop advertising that you can listen on your phone or some other way. I also tried to comment online because I was upset on a couple of procedural things. Couldn't do that. So I don't know who was running the meeting last night, whether you were gonna be muted no matter what. And I know I had heard that Carl Wyman, my neighbor, went also because he was having difficulty coming in, and he decided to ride over here and come to the meeting. I did speak with the chair of the zoning board today, and he too shares that same thing about whether or not, do you want the town to be involved in some of these things or not, and we need to get it right. So
I couldn't agree more.
So I just would pass that on. So I do think you should reconsider the meeting and to get our tax stuff in order.
I spoke with the town manager and he checked the dates on the last 2 years and they were both about the second week of July in the past 2 years.
We've been holding special meetings on Thursdays to set the tax rate. We don't have the homestead and non-homestead tax rates. They generally come in like between July 2nd and the 10th. And then we call a special select board meeting to set the tax rate.
Because we have to have those numbers before.
But I'm advising, I mean, I think that people ought to get there because of whether or not there is a question from a resident saying, we've gotten it wrong before, and we've had to reprint some things and whatever. So when you said cancel the meeting, from this, I took it to mean that you weren't gonna have another one until the 20th or whatever, 3 weeks.
Oh,
Yeah, no, we're gonna hold a special meeting.
Okay, so you're not doing
Tax
that?
rate.
No. We'll get that taken care of.
Okay.
We're only talking about the July 3rd meeting,
Okay.
Right.
because the majority of fireworks are going off for the 4th of July on the 3rd.
It wasn't clear here in this memo that said
Sorry about that.
what you wanted, where you wanted to postpone it to. Yep. Yep.
Okay. All right, so, yeah, Paul, go ahead.
Just quick, I'm traveling on vacation next week. If you do need to call anything for a special meeting, I will make sure I attend remotely.
Okay.
If that's acceptable.
Yeah.
Just wanted you to
You want to do
know.
it by phone, or probably ought to do it by phone, just in case.
And to that note, I wanted to, again, not to just sound like a parrot, but I want to mirror Dave's concerns, what you said, the chair of the ZBA and myself as the chair of the planning commission, Yes, Carl Wyman had to come in because he couldn't hear. Sorry, Dave, I did not know that was you on there, or that there was another person online that did text me saying that they were having hard trouble hearing. So, and procedurally, I'm open to anything, comments that we have, because it was definitely a different structure, and first time for me ever having a dual meeting and how that works. And going forward, I might recommend, if we have to do that again or something, we have almost like a separate person running the meeting instead of trying to have the two chairs. I don't know, but I do think that needs to be addressed, and I will take any comments, and look forward to an email from you on that, so.
Okay. Any other comments from the board? Okay. Vote to authorize the chair to sign the fire department contract. The top section of this is the contract change log, which is a two pages, single print. The third page is one paragraph. These are the changes to the contracts.
Yep, these are the changes.
I'll make a motion that we allow the chair to sign the fire contract, so that we can go into discussion on it.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion on the fire contracts.
Is there a reason why it has to be signed today?
Yes, well, yes and no. If it's not signed by the 30th, the existing contract goes into effect for another year.
And can I ask another question about it? Sure. Am I allowed to?
Yeah, of course you are. You're allowed to ask. You're a board
I know
member.
that last year, we didn't allow the other fire department to do their thing because of, did we stop the thing with the, them becoming medical to do stuff like that? Because what happened with the,
No, the board voted to accept that, and we were gonna do
even afterwards?
we were gonna do a contract amendment, but
Okay.
we're so close to the new contract that I just decided to let it go because we were leaning on the select board vote.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do know exactly what you're talking about. So we
I just
just,
didn't want to put it all in detail.
we literally just created a section 2.2.1 rescue squad with the precise language from the vote on March 21st of
Okay.
2022.
And this sums it up right here in that first section.
And you have a copy of the contract. The changes have been highlighted in red.
Yeah, I saw that.
I have met with both departments. Both departments have approved and signed the contract. And the approved and signed contract is there. There's not significant changes. I added a few procedural changes. I'm looking for the training certificates from each department to be on our server for insurance purposes. I did add a training stipend section, but the only thing that it states is that the departments will propose stipends in the budget, and the select board still has the ability at that time to approve or deny it. So we're not committing to stipends in the contract, we're only committing to hearing their proposals. Section 2.6 quarterly reports, I changed that from shall to recommended to provide some wiggle room there for the departments to submit their reports, and we changed the dates that the reports would be due because we added dates at like September 30th, like the last day of the quarter, and that didn't make any sense. We needed 15 days later to give them the ability to report on the full quarter, so we changed those dates back. We changed the date of the strategic plan, which is something we didn't get to fully. We have it in the works. From June 1st, 2021 to September 30th, 2023. We added the fire chiefs, town manager, and highway superintendent shall hold 2 meetings per year to discuss dry hydrants. That's something we didn't do consistently and want to continue doing. So we put that in the contract. Section 2.10, we added the fire departments shall develop a junior firefighting program policy, and that's based on the VLCT policy. And we're just looking for consistency with the junior firefighting policy, and both departments agreed to that. We added under section 2.11, the town recommends notifying our dispatching agency when burn permits are issued for more than 3 days. Under section 3.1, we added, the town manager will attend at least one budgetary meeting with each fire department's membership in various meetings with the presidents and/or fire chiefs. I did not attend budget meetings at the fire departments, and that's something they were looking for, rather than only with the fire chiefs. So I don't mind attending those meetings and agreed to do that. Section 3.4, disbursement, we removed approved reimbursements and added provided that the purchasing policy is followed. In the case the town's purchasing policy is not followed, the invoice will not be paid and the vendor will be notified to redirect the invoice to the entity that made the purchase without approval. So this happened in the last year when the purchasing policy was violated and the budget went over by $25,000 in one account. Added new section 3.5, responsible annual budget practices. The fire department shall be responsible for ensuring fire department annual budgets are adhered to and that expenses do not exceed the annual amount approved by the town. Budget line items indicate the maximum amount that may be spent in the account. The town manager and fire chief and/or president shall meet at least quarterly to review budget to actuals. Circumstances may arise from time to time and emergency expenses may be necessary to finance the fire departments beyond annual operating expenses. Any expenses above and beyond a fire department's annual approved budget must be sent to the town manager in writing, explaining the emergency expense and the cost. In the case an expense is an emergency that requires immediate attention, the fire department must obtain at least verbal approval from the town manager or the town manager's designee and follow up within 24 hours in writing, either via email or letter, justifying the expense. The purchasing policy and available funding within a department's budget shall be the basis for any purchases made by either department. We added section 4.2, approved vendors. The fire departments and the town manager shall hold a meeting prior to August 30th, 2023 to develop a list of approved vendors that either fire department may use to purchase from. This list shall be updated annually, no later than June 30th. The town manager will approve the final list. In the case either fire department disagrees with the final list, the decision may be appealed to the select board. And then section 4.3D, we revised this section and added hazardous material response ordinance shall be followed for all hazardous materials response. That was just a kind of cleaning up the section. The section was not, section 4.3D was not the section that we were referring to in the last contract, so we just referred to the correct policy. And that's all the changes.
On that section 4.2, approved vendors, that doesn't really apply when it comes to like RFPs for stuff, correct?
No, these are just vendors that we purchase from on a regular basis. For example,
Yep.
you know, are we gonna approve an expense over at Bibbins in Springfield? Is Bibbins an approved vendor?
Yeah.
The answer would be yes. Is Lavalley's an approved vendor? The answer would be yes.
Well, the thing that I was zeroing in on was that, you know, there are times when you have to put something out to bid due to purchasing policy.
Absolutely.
And that goes out and people respond. They may not be on the list, so.
Yeah,
That's got
no.
nothing to do with it.
These are just approved vendors for regular operating expenses.
Okay.
Yep.
Questions? Go ahead.
Who drafted all this list of everything? Did you do it?
Okay.
Yeah, so,
And that's from working with each department to develop that list. So it came from a combination of all three of us.
so my first comment would be, I don't know that section 2.5 has the right title. Training is free. There is no training cost that's sponsored by the state of Vermont or the fire associations in the state of Vermont.
Yep.
So I don't know that that's titled correctly.
I titled it Training Stipends and Incentives.
Either way, it doesn't guarantee anything other than our ear at a future date.
Exactly.
Well, I think it goes further than that. I don't want to misrepresent what it says. I mean, it's not in there, and it does say, it gives dates, and it says, you know, by a certain date, which is like next month or the month after. No,
But that's their, but they have to do it. That's, for the fire departments shall develop no later than August 30th.
I'm getting that.
That's not us, that's
Their
them.
argument is that they always want these training stipends, but my argument is they never have it prepared in time. So what I'm saying here is by August 30th, I need to know what your proposal is.
Yep.
And then that proposal will be given to the board and we can talk about it then. But I didn't commit to anything here.
And I'm understanding that. I'm just saying that I have a problem with the title of it, because it's not, now, there are other departments that have on-call fees and whatever else you'd like to call them, but it's not true that you have to be paid to be trained. It's not true.
Yeah.
So, my next comment is, I know that you're trying under section 3, 4, and 3.5 to somehow, get whoever is gonna spend money to adhere to the purchasing policy.
Yes.
I'm gonna make a prediction. If I'm a member that serves this, and not just the fire department, but any person that does some service to the town and gets reimbursed somehow, I'm gonna fundraise and buy what I want.
We have a quorum, guys.
Okay.
Be there in a few minutes.
And so if somebody thinks that you need something, or I don't know how you want to phrase that, but that's what I think. And to their credit, and I've advocated for both departments over the past few years, there are a lot of people that give money to the departments as gifts.
Yep.
And I don't think the town has any business knowing that goodwill or having their hands in that.
I can't agree more.
But I'm just saying that I think that, which we were trying to, before you got here, even as the manager, we were trying to develop a budget so that I believe some of the comments that I made was that the reasons that they had to fundraise and they did all this was because the stuff, we weren't funding them enough to do that, to spend time with their family, or whatever the reason was, non-fire activity.
Yep.
I think that this might tighten it up more, where they'll say, okay, we don't agree with the level of spending or whatever, so we may be not being able to listen to what they have to say, and then they'll say, we're just gonna buy something. And the danger in this is that we have, over the last 3 or 4 years, been able to say that all town equipment and all trucks are in the town's names.
Yep.
We have not been, all their equipment has been now located in the town of Weathersfield name. So no matter where it goes from, I think that this, I don't know the answer, but I think that this might say, okay, if I really want a set of new ladders or whatever, that somebody might say, or whatever the thing that they might want, then they'll go do it, and it might revert back to purchasing stuff and having it in other person's names, not the town.
Excuse me, how much longer do you think it'll be without the quorum now?
Like 10 minutes.
5 to 10 minutes.
So I don't know, I think that when we went through this town fire department thing, and now I know that it's bubbled up about a expense that went above the budget. I get that. I fully understand that. And I certainly understand that sometimes the discussion leads to this, it's never enough things. It's just the nature of the service. But I think fundraising might rise a little, and the risk might be that the name, the purchase of whatever, we tried to stop all that, including trucks, all kinds of things, and have it all under the town's umbrella.
And I'll tell the board that I had a conversation with Darren, and I said to Darren, look, Darren, the town's not trying to not support you. And if something's broke and it needs to be fixed, you just need to tell us. We'll find a way to do it.
Right.
We'll fix it. It'll
Right.
be taken care of. We're not trying to,
Right.
you know,
Just looking for better communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if he would have came to me and we would have discussed that, and it was absolutely necessary, I would have come to the board and we would have had the discussion.
Yes.
To do it.
Well, no,
and that's what I told Darren.
I do get it.
I told him, I said, look, I'm not mad at you. And I'm not judging what you did. I know you needed those things. So I'm not looking at it and saying you did something you shouldn't have done. You had to do what you had to do. It was just a process, and he agreed that it was a communication
Yes.
that we all need to work on. Paul, go.
Yeah, just quickly on here, is there any provisions in here to, and this word's gonna be very harsh, but regulate what they use their, any of that extra money for? When I say that, it's not our money to say what, but if we're owning the fire trucks and owning this, I mean, we just heard in one of the meetings sitting here that all of a sudden there was extra, they're over budget by all this much, but there's $10,000 sitting in an account that's theirs, but yet our money is over budget, and then finding out that they're putting pump things on a truck or stuff. So then if the truck's ours, but then they're putting something on it,
It
and also,
automatically becomes the town's property as soon as
That's in here.
That's in
that's
this
in there,
contract.
okay, so that's in there.
So any money they spend, that gets added to
On-
the trucks or equipment, it automatically gets donated to the
Right,
town
there's
through this
not,
contract.
none of this, they can take it off later and they do this, and no, okay.
Nope, that was in the original.
And the departments were fine with that.
Okay, good. Good.
Departments have signed these contracts. The two
No, no,
departments
I-
are in
yeah,
agreement with these two contracts. Is there any further discussion on?
Yeah, is there in the big contract, isn't there some words, because I don't know that I fully understand this, whether or not, or nor do I agree with it, when if we didn't sign it by tonight, then we can't do anything for a year. I think
No,
there's.
that's not true.
Yeah,
You're right.
I think there's some last line in here saying that the parties shall work together or till we get to a contract.
And we can make an amendment there.
Exactly,
And
that's
anytime
the
we can
next
make an
line that I
amendment.
was gonna say.
That's
it's-
correct. That
yes.
is towards the end of it. That
Yes.
is in here.
That's in
You're
there?
right.
There were some budgetary things that I wanted to resolve prior to the start of a new fiscal year. And that's why this meeting was called, and the fire departments had meetings as well to sign this contract. And really, it was budgetary and a couple of other things that didn't. But at any time, we could talk about amendments to the contract and put them on the agenda.
And we currently have a contract in front of us that is in agreement with you.
So does this, sorry.
ahead.
So under section 2.5, I have one more question. So it says here, a training plan approved by the department shall be entered by August 30th and distributed to the town manager. Following that approval by the town manager, the funding will be entered into the departments for a review, okay, for the select board to review. Okay, I missed
Oh,
that
yeah.
part.
Approved from the select board, if approved.
If approved.
Following, so I was taking it to say that you were gonna approve it and then you were gonna tell us later.
No. He has to approve it first, and then it comes to us.
Because the budget is gonna be the budget.
Yes,
I don't know.
that's correct.
Yeah, we put all the checks and balances in this. So I would want to review it first, just to make sure that it's adequate enough to come to the board.
Call a vote.
Okay, no further discussion? There's a motion on the floor to authorize the chair to sign the fire department contract. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion's unanimous. Any opposed? Any abstentions? It's unanimous. Authorize the chair to sign the 6/3/30/23 warrant. And the plan here on this is for me to hold off and allow you to see this thing and ask any questions before I do it. And then
June
I will
3rd,
come in.
that's a long time ago.
That's Friday.
No, June 3rd, you said 6/3.
30.
6/30/23.
6:30.
That's Friday.
Oh, I thought you said June
It's
6/3,
6:30.
30.
So what we would be doing here is, I talked to the treasurer, and there's some things that we need to get paid
Oh.
before June 30th.
Yes.
And since we're not having a meeting on 7/3, the treasurer said that it would be okay if the board voted to authorize Mike to sign the warrant,
But we can all look at it.
but we
I'll
would,
look at it first.
we would send it on Thursday at the same time.
I told him I wouldn't sign it unless you
Basically,
saw it.
You wouldn't need to sign it until Friday night. It would give you guys 30-something hours to review it. and ask questions.
How do you wanna work this? Do you want us to give you a read receipt somehow and say, hey, we looked at, we don't have any comments, or just, if you don't hear anything, we're good?
If I don't
by
hear
that time?
anything, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the questions would have to be directed to me.
To him.
No, yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I
not
was
to the
just gonna
chair,
say.
it's gotta go to
Yeah,
him.
direct your questions to him.
Yep.
Actually, actually, the questions can come out, questions can come out.
Just can't have
You get
discussion
You
about
can't
it.
answer the questions or discuss the questions.
Yep.
But just, if you just go through Brandon,
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
just, yep.
we'll make sure that that stuff is looked at prior to me signing it.
And you can either call me, email me, text me.
When is it gonna be ready by?
Huh?
When is it gonna be ready by?
Thursday. So I'll try to get it by 1 o'clock, or 1 to 2 o'clock.
So we don't wanna bother you after you work, what, until 12 o'clock on Friday?
I don't mind.
I know, but it's not gonna be Friday night, that's silly. You want,
Well, I gotta drive over sometime and sign it, so.
yeah, but in the morning.
I'm calling you.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I do that all the time.
I'm just kidding.
I try to wake them up. Okay, so, do I hear a motion to authorize the chair to sign the 6/30/23 warrant?
Yes.
Do I hear a second?
Yes.
Motion's been made and
Whoa.
seconded.
Kelly got it.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any other business that can be conducted while the board is together? I don't think there's anything. We did add the one item to the agenda.
I got one thing.
Okay, quick.
The employees have come to me and requested that we close the office at 3 instead of 6 on Monday. Is there any, I'd hate to push this July 3rd thing, but
On Monday?
yeah.
Just for the,
Just for this one Monday, we usually close at 6. It's July 3rd.
you do close at 6 o'clock at night?
Yep. Every Monday.
Okay.
So we're looking to close at 3 if the board's okay with that.
Make a motion to close the town office at 3 o'clock. Do I hear a second? On Monday, July 3rd
Only.
only. That's the motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Motion is made and seconded. Any discussion? I assume they're going to be paid full for the day through 6 or just through 3, whatever. Just to be clear.
They would clock out at 3 o'clock.
Okay.
So it's just
I
the
didn't really
office.
care, right? Personally, not one way or another.
Unless they
but-
want to use their vacation time for the other 3 hours, but no, it would
Okay.
be a clock out at 3.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Close at 3. And motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Aye. Third.
And it is what time? Thank you all for doing this tonight, 7:12.